Court, April 30th, 2014. Item number 2 is going to be the roll call. Commissioner Yauer? Here. Commissioner Rosales, I'm here. Commissioner Dubnik? Here. Commissioner Shendo? Here. Okay. We're all here. Now stand up for opening prayer. Please cut off your cell phone.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all our blessings. We ask that you keep us in mind and send us some rain much needed. We ask that you protect our people on the highways of our county. We ask that you help us make decisions beneficial for the county today. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens to be heard.
One. Ms. Hall.
Ms. Hall.
Podium now.
I'm sorry, you want me to get it for you?
No, it's okay. I mean, I don't mind, but I mean, it's just a little awkward. You don't, I don't have to have a podium.
I don't know if there's enough room to get through there.
It's really not necessary, Jane.
It's okay, don't worry about it. I'm sorry. That's all. I'm sorry. We should have had that ready.
Should have been out there.
Is that okay?
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
I come to you as a questionable taxpayer, and I'm sorry that Judge Butler isn't here this morning because I feel like that he's, unfortunately hasn't been briefed on a lot of the things that have happened in the past, and he's trying to learn. So I had really hoped to be able to address him as well. But I ask for your transparency. As you know, my husband and I come to almost every meeting, and yet again we question how and where large amounts of money are spent. We ask for some fiscal common sense. For an example, the jail went from $7 million to $11 million, and when asked how it happened, the citizens were just told that you all voted on it. And that was the answer. That was plain and simple the answer we got. You voted on it. We still have no clarification as to how it went to $11 million. And if you try to calculate that out for a 48-bed unit, I don't know if you've all done that, but that's $230,000 to $240,000 per unit per cell. Sounds a little extravagant. This is more than a lot of people pay for their own home. My second question is the Road and Bridge Department. You've discussed buying land before on this issue, as you have for the EMS facility building. I'm asking you to be transparent today in telling us what you're considering. What kind of price are you considering? Is it $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 an acre? Land right now around here is at an all-time high, and we have 3 other road and bridge yards that can be utilized. This is not being wise steward of our tax dollars. You keep wanting to buy land, build multi-million-dollar buildings, buy new equipment, new trucks, but our roads remain in the same condition, if not worse, than they've been for 25 years that I've been here and beyond that. You have $1.8 million in this budget right here for road material. $1.8 million for road material. The $7 million we get from the state is going toward 3 roads, and they've made that very, very clear. At $400,000 per mile to work on the roads, it's going to fix 3 roads in our county. Doesn't leave much hope for all the other roads in the county that need work on it. You need to consider how the money we have that we're being blessed with is spent to work for the taxpayers. Perhaps that money would be better spent on more material and more labor to address the real problems of our infrastructure. Buildings do not make better roads. We recently, on the corner of 109 and 115, watched them bring material for a corner. Nothing else was done on the road, they just worked on the corner. Haven't seen a shredder for over 2 years. I live very close to the Goliad County line, and I watch their roads get shredded 3 times a year. Ours are not even being done. So we have this issue of where's the money being spent? Do we need more labor? Do we need more employees? I see new road graders, I see new trucks. You're talking about buying an expensive piece of land. It is not addressing our infrastructure. Please think about what you're spending serves, because people are still out there paying a lot of taxes and are on the same old rough, dusty roads that we've had forever. What happens when it starts raining? We'll be in a real mess. Don't let the fact that we have a lot of money lead you to unwise decisions.
Thank you very much, ma'am. There's nobody else that's here?
I have
Go right ahead.
an idea, but I'd like to wait until, I think issue number 7, and address it at that point.
Okay, that's fine. No problem at all. Okay, the minutes, reading of the minutes.
That would be at the next meeting.
Okay, we're gonna just pass that. Moving along to item number 7, discuss action regarding attending of the Sheriff's Department, amending, I'm sorry. Yeah, I forgot my glasses, that's why I can't read. Amending of the Sheriff's Department budget to fund an additional 6 full-time deputy positions and equipment to create a traffic unit within the department to enforce traffic laws on county roads and state highways in Karnes County. This issue has become an emergency due to the large amount of wrecks and traffic-related incidents. Arthur, Chief Deputy Sheriff Robert Ebram Jr.
Good morning.
Morning, Sheriff.
How are you this morning?
Chief.
The reason I'm here is the Karnes County Sheriff's Department would like to ask Commissioner's Court for permission to hire the additional 6 deputies positions to create a traffic unit to concentrate on our traffic enforcement on highways and county roads. Our current manpower right now is not sufficient enough to cover all of the calls for service, and we'll be able adequately to enforce the traffic laws. These violations that we're causing a large number of accidents. Last month we had 40 accidents and injuries out in the county. Every day we get calls on reckless driving in different areas of the county. So that if we just can concentrate and if we get that extra help to kind of work on these problems for the county. We've had all the accidents, as y'all can see, from October 2013. We had 63 that one month, and then November another 55. December of 2013, 59. January of 2014, 64. February 2014, 54, and then this year, 40.
Sheriff, how many of your deputies are still currently training?
3, sir.
3? And what are their training?
In other words,
How
all
long
of
does it take?
about 90 days.
When did they start training?
April 1st is the last deputies that we hired.
So they'll be out like in July?
Yes, sir.
And they'll be ready to hit the roads on
Yes, sir.
anything that's traffic, make calls,
Making
everything?
calls, yes.
Everything else. It's 6, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if it's 6 like this, how long is it gonna take for them to get trained? Also 90 days for them to
Yes,
get
sir.
ready?
Yes, and the thing is, if you already have somebody within the department that has been working with the department and you move them to the traffic division, they will not require the training with another deputy. Like if it's someone new that comes in, they'll just get moved in.
Okay, they bumped up,
Yes, sir.
so to speak. Okay.
The one thing we wanted to call to your attention is the number of wrecks, but also, Commissioners, we'd like to do, the sheriff would like to do, is one of those positions, we'd like to create a full-time license and weight person for the county. I know the county had one in the past that left, but we would like to send an individual to one of these officers to license weights or utilize y'all's weight station. Y'all spend money up there on the hill for sitting vacant most of the time. We feel like the number of violations on these trucks could be worked by a county employee instead of the state. There are programs out there where you could send one of our own employees to have a full-time licensed weight deputy, and that's what we'd like to do in one of these positions.
And if the 6 go or they don't, whichever way it goes, but the license and weight guy, is that gonna be one of the 6 or is that gonna be a current one already just bumped up, like sent in for training?
You could do it either way, but we'd have to train somebody. Either take an individual we already have on staff and then fill one of these with a different position, but it's a specialized program. They'd have to go to a minimum 6-week program to learn license and weight.
Okay.
The federal guidelines and that. So that's what we're really looking at, and the number of traffic violations, the number of people violating the law on the highways and county roads is what's causing that large amount of accidents. So we want to focus on that. A lot of the public safety in this county, we have citizens calling on a daily basis complaining about people that are speeding, passing and no passing zones, all of those things that are going on. And y'all know, whether you realize it or not, if you get out here on the highways between 5 in the morning and 8:30 in the morning, Karnes County has what they call in the morning a rush hour, whether you like it or not. There's a rush hour on 181 and 123. We like to concentrate our efforts on that rush hour because of the number of accidents. This morning, again, we have 2 accidents right off the bat and 1 in Goliad. And so, we'd like to help DPS and concentrate on working those accidents. That's why we're asking for this.
One thing, Chief, that I did, sure.
And our deputies have been working lots of accidents, as y'all can see, and if we get the 6 deputies, they will work strictly traffic, but if something happens, some major here in Karnes, of course, they would have to come assist the others, but they will be concentrating on traffic.
I did some checking, Sheriff, Chief, on this. I compared last year's tickets that came in that hit the JPs compared to this year's tickets, and it's less this year. Is that because?
And the majority of those tickets, Commissioner Rosales, was when we had a license and weight deputy, and because of the truck traffic, and that's
That's why you're seeing,
down.
that's why you're seeing a decrease, yeah, because of the license and weight tickets from previously and the number of accidents. Our deputies are out there working accidents instead of writing tickets. And
That's why there was a decrease from
Yes,
last
sir.
year to this year?
Yes, sir.
I just did a comparison to see, justify the 6 deputies, but that's the reason.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And your traffic, how are your traffic citations? Are they up from last year or down?
They're slightly down, Commissioner.
Yeah.
They are slightly down. I think you did a comparison of all 4 JPs. They are down because of the number of weight tickets that were written before. But they are slightly down for this year.
What is your schedule for working 6 people?
As far as if we have the traffic guys, what we're looking at is for them working
Rush hour?
rush hour, 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. That would be the coverage.
So how will that be covered with 6 people? They work a 12-hour shift?
We can do,
There's several different
ways you can overlap. They can do 10 hours instead of 12. But it'll work where you can have some cover the first part of the mornings and then through the afternoon, the late evening.
And the sheriff has also proposed, Commissioner Yauer, to break the county up into sections, actually, according to precincts where we have the problem, and put those deputies in those individual areas where they're not going to be all grouped in one area. We'll concentrate. Gillette's been having a lot of problems, 181, 123. You can see Highway 80. Also, the Runge area's been having a lot of problems. So we can focus these individuals there. They won't be making calls. They'll just be focusing there 8 or 10 hours or 12 hours in that area.
And traffic stop.
Yes, we'll put them in different, we'll divide them in different zones.
You think you'll be able to find some quality type people?
I'm sure we can. That's what I was asked when y'all gave me the lab deputy, sir. This is where we're at.
Okay, I'd be remiss in my duties if I didn't mention this, and it has no bearing on my personal feelings, but based on local government code 111.010C, it's not an emergency or unforeseen circumstance. It was discussed during the budget workshop to hire 12 additional positions. The Commissioners Court voted to only do 6. I don't see how this can be done mid-year. Of course, it's at the discretion of the court. Y'all vote on it, but if I didn't bring this up,
Yes, sir.
again, I'd be remiss. My curiosity is these that are going to come out July 1st, we still have 3 months of, 2 months of training with them. Are those going to be specific patrol deputies or are those other positions?
Both. But like I'm saying, is now we have the staff, the deputies that we have now, some of them will be moved up for the traffic unit if it gets approved.
So then you'd be filling other positions
Yes,
within the
yes, ma'am.
department. The new 6 deputies aren't necessarily patrol deputies.
Correct.
They would be other positions, and you'd use what you have now to get people out on the road.
So how many will they give you per shift?
We currently have 3 per shift right now. And if you add the traffic units in there, depends on how you break it down by their shift. But right now we have 3 per shift. And once they get tied up on all the major calls, like I said, they have a hard time working traffic or writing tickets. That's the thing. the call volume and the calls for service have really gone up. So,
I know I was asked, I'm sorry, I was asked today about making a traffic unit, but these guys will assist anyone else if they have to, right? If there's a
Oh,
major
of
accident or
course, if
something.
there's a major
They're gonna
accident
leave
or-
from what they're doing and they're gonna go assist that. I was asked that this morning, so.
Yes, sir.
absolutely, they'll be just like everybody else, Commissioner, and if there's a major item going on with a wreck or chemical spill, or we've had some of these major fires or oil field problems, if we have to use those people, then we will.
Okay. Y'all had a question? Go ahead, Jordan.
Well, I would respectfully disagree with Ms. Casper. It is, in my view, I live in the country. I live down a mile of bad road. I've been shot at 3 times out there. In each case, I've had to call the sheriff's department. In every case, it took a minimum of 45 minutes for a deputy to answer that call. And when I checked on it, the reason that they couldn't get there fast enough is in every case they were involved in a traffic accident or some other call, and they couldn't get to me, okay? I think it's not only an emergency situation, it's a crisis for the county. Because as I travel through the county, one of the major items that they talk about other than roads is the fact that when they need a sheriff's deputy, they can't get one. I mean, they can get through the dispatch. That's not the issue. The issue is there's not enough guys to cover the waterfront when an emergency comes in out in the county. So I would like to support the sheriff's department. You know, we do have the money. I believe it to be an emergency, and it would meet the criteria simply because they don't have the manpower to cover traffic out on the county because they're involved in calls that they have to, I mean, they're emergencies at that moment. And as a result, the people in the county, again, you know, we're left out there, you know, basically in self-defense mode. If we have a personal crisis, in case, and it's not uncommon for people to go down those roads and start shooting. And I think that the county, I would like to encourage the county commissioners court to consider this in a favorable manner, because everybody wants law enforcement. And I'm a very conservative person. I don't believe in spending money that we don't need to spend, but there are some areas that we need to spend money on, and one of them is the safety of this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Matt? Okay.
We all voted on,
Sorry, man.
speed limits and everything, but if we don't hire any more deputies, how are we gonna control those speed limits?
And you know, as it was mentioned at the time that you set the speed limits throughout the county, that now that we've got the speed limits are 35, I believe that's correct. 30 miles an hour, it's not gonna stop those guys. I mean, I live on County Road 330, and from about 10 o'clock at night until about 1 o'clock in the morning, you got these tank trucks, they come and they take a shortcut, it's off of 743, they cut across 330 to get going over to Select. And I'm talking about convoys, I'm not talking about one truck, I'm talking about 5, 10, 15 trucks in a row, because it saves them about 8 miles. And they're not, you know, they don't really, and even these big trucks, they're not going fast down that road. I mean, it's pretty rough. But the point is, if the sheriff's department knew about it, they have a deputy and they say, somebody calls in and, hey, we got a convoy going through about 10 o'clock every night, you know, maybe they can set the deputy out there and shut them down. But right now, they can't do it. I mean, it's just not possible. And it's not the fault of the sheriff, it's not the fault of the chief deputy. The problem is, he doesn't have the manpower to provide adequate traffic for safety in the county. And I can tell you, it matters a lot, those people in the Ruggie area, it matters a lot, those folks out there in Chestahova and Fall City, Hobson. They need somebody, maybe we'll get out of that card and start playing for a while, because it's gonna be a while before they get there.
Sir. Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Ma'am?
I'm for hiring more too. About a week and a half ago, my husband and I turned on 148 and there were 3 horses in the road headed toward 181. All they had to do is go around the corner and be on 181. We stopped, we blocked them off, called the sheriff's department. She said, I've got a deputy out at Helena. He'll get there as soon as he can. We waited for an hour. Nobody ever came, but we didn't let the horses get any further. finally we discovered who the owner was, and they were contacted and got the horses back in. I know there's a lot of accidents, and life is really important, but if those horses had got on 181, more accidents. So we're for getting more too. It's maybe somebody that can just handle stuff like that.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir?
One road you've left out is 72 between Rumney and Kendi. I'll pull off in the intersection of 239. I'm doing 70, I'm looking in my rearview mirror, and all I see is grill work. I don't stay in the middle. I get on the shoulder and let that sucker go. I don't know what he's doing. But he's doing a hell of a lot more than 70. So it's all over the county.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am?
My concern is a little bit of a different nature. This has to do with the number of thefts. My husband and I bought property here a year and a half ago, and in that time, we've been vandalized once and broken into twice. And the last time they got us with tractors, trailers, John Deere gators, large equipment, and we report it each time, and we really don't get much follow-up. And I don't see that many patrol, deputies on the county road. So I'm assuming this is probably the, I don't know if it's a growing problem or just our misfortune.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am?
One of the things that concerns me about the Commissioner's Court and the presentations that are made here is that we ask for people. It's not considered an emergency. There are things going on. Your questions have been, where are they going to put them? When are they going to put them there? What have you got now? I would love to see the department heads come with a plan saying this is what we have and where they are, and this is what we really think we need to work the issues, the traffic and the thefts and the county effectively. It concerns me, and I had asked this almost over a year ago actually, when we come to these meetings, have you done the research on what's on the agenda? Do you know what's going on, rather than just making a decision right here and like she said earlier, you voted on it because it was put before you. Can you not say, let's do a little more research, let's show us what you got and what you want to do with these and how they'll be utilized to really make an informed, educated decision? Is that a crazy request?
No, ma'am.
No, we can do that.
I just think that's something that we need to start asking people when they put it on the agenda, when you guys put it there. Say, we'd like to know your backup and your reasoning and your purpose and all those details so it's plain and clear and we don't have to guess and what are we doing and well, yeah, of course we'll do that. Those kinds of things are very subjective to the weather, to the time of day, those kinds of things. And I'd like to see it in a plan. And that's just my comment, that I see us doing a lot of voting without a lot of background information, just whatever we present. 6 more people, please. And I think you need 6 more people. I think you need 12 more people. I'm in the country. I'm in Runge. I've had issues and never seen a police or sheriff anywhere. So it is a concern, and I want you to get these people, but I think we need to really start considering how we're making these decisions. And that's just my comment.
Okay, I'll comment on that. I have presented me this morning, and this says here on one sheet it costs $474,519.47, and that looks like for all equipment. Is that correct, Sheriff?
Yes.
That's only equipment.
It's the salaries at the top,
Salaries
the
on the
very
top
top.
sheet.
Yeah, and then there's a second sheet where the water provides that.
Right there.
Yes.
The second one right
And that's
That's a breakdown.
and that's a one-time startup fee for the equipment needed for this. After that, you won't have anything but the salary at the top of it.
And just maintenance of this equipment.
That's right. Just the maintenance of that equipment and the salary at the top. And that salary is off by 1 month, because I think when Luana did the proposal, it was to start April 1st, or May 1st, either one. And so,
To answer your question, I didn't get this before this morning to look over. You're right.
Okay.
We need more time to look over.
Yeah, when you put it on the agenda, have the details there. And what you're telling me now is you've got this morning and it's a total, but it's not just 6 people, it's a lot of equipment as well.
Yes.
So there are things that I think that we as citizens need to know before a decision is made.
Let me answer that with all due respect, nothing, just anybody put that question before us. Yes, I do want justification for the deputies and everything. That's why the questions were asked today. But I don't want to micromanage anybody's department, because if it's somebody that needs a secretary or something, I don't want them to come out here and tell me every time they're going to turn on the computer, every time they're going to do something like that. I don't want to micromanage them. They know what they're doing. They know that they need 6 deputies. If we give it to them or not today, if we decide to give it to them not today, this is the decision of the court. But I feel that, and I do understand your question 100% about justification, but it's going to be hard for them to come out here and tell us everything, every little thing they're going to do. The same as we don't ask someone else, a secretary, when they're going to turn the computer, when they're not, what they're going to do all day. If they think that they're going to need the 6 deputies, and I believe I've been hearing that. We sit here and I get called all the time about these people out there in the rural areas. They're having a hard time. People are speeding. They're scared to even come out of their driveways. If we do something like this is helping. The people in the city are covered most of the time by PDs, and we'll see the deputies around and everything. But the people out in the rural areas are the ones that are right now in a crisis, and I do understand that. And I mean, to ask them to come out here and detail what every deputy is going to do, it's kind of hard on them. And I understand justification, but I think they came with enough justification, and with the people that I hear every day calling me, or every other day calling me, that's enough justification for me.
I'm just hoping that they would have a plan to put into the personnel log what each department and division, if you're going to create a traffic division, we need to have it on paper before we ask for the money for it.
absolutely,
So-
we don't take your comments lightly. A couple of the commissioners have called and talked to us about that, and we have
Good.
set a plan in place to do this. I briefed on that a little bit about breaking the county up into sections, assigning people specific duties and different areas to work each day. We'll also put a supervisor over that person to make sure that each day these jobs are followed up on. Nowadays you can put all the job descriptions and all the ideas out there, but if you don't have people following up on that, and so that's what we've established, a supervisor for each one of those units, somebody to follow up and make sure, hold these people's feet to the fire.
Okay, so that has been done.
Yes,
What you're
ma'am.
telling me is you've got
Yes,
a
ma'am.
plan.
Yes, ma'am.
You just are asking for people and we just don't know what it is detailed.
Yes, ma'am, and I've got paperwork here. If anybody else in the public would like it, I can give you the details as I gave the commissioners this morning. I'd be glad to furnish there. There's a copy of that. If anybody else would like one, we have plenty of copies here.
Before the meeting and everything, I did the research with the chief and the sheriff on this and
Okay.
everything, and I made sure that it was going to come in justified.
Okay, thank you.
This one.
One final thought, and I think this should be part of your consideration. People live in the county have as much of an equal right to protection as the folks that live in Karnes City or in Kenny. And right now, they do not have that equal right to protection, simply because in the past, we didn't have the money. We were understaffed. And the sheriff did his best, the best job that he could do with what he had and could afford. Well, we have money, and I'm not saying, I don't say this lightly, that I'm a very conservative person. I don't believe in spending money where we don't have to spend money. But when we need to spend money, then we need to do what we have to do for the people of this county.
Yes, sir.
I would ask that you would think about this when the budget comes up. I just mentioned that they were asked for 12, you decided on 6. And so you come to an emergency call. So I would ask you to do as much research as you could when you're considering these things in the budget. Now, the budget is coming up. And so if you can cover so many of those things before we have to do this, it would be very good. So each department, if you just get each department to really consider about the next year. We have a little bit of background with Eagle Forest, so
Everything,
asking you to do that.
everything I've gone to do with traffic over recently has been talking about one DPS does not have enough people to cover their accidents. You have DPS troopers who don't want to transfer to Karnes County or any Eagleford County. It's for that way because there's the amount of accidents. Karnes County, last couple of mornings I had to go to San Antonio and I left at about 6 o'clock and it was bumper to bumper coming in. The accidents that are mainly happening are on the main thoroughfares, not so much on the county roads, but on the main thoroughfares. When you have rush hour traffic, it's like one big procession coming on with all the lights on in the morning. It's crazy. And yes, Mr. Yarder is right. We need extra people, but again, at the same time, some of the people in this room last year at budget time, we don't need those extra people. We don't need those extra people. We can't incur that extra cost. Well, this is what it's costing us now. The sheriff's current budget is $2.7 million. With the additional fringe and everything, it'll go up to about 3.4. Am I right, Lauren?
I haven't seen that exact number.
Roughly, it'll go up to 3.4. That's just to finish the year. Next year, it'll go up even further, but yet the need is here because of of what's happening. I mean, EMS goes out every day. And you're right about planning and stuff, but yet we had everything. It was all outlined last year, and maybe it wasn't so like it should be. I had one local department. I'm not going to say which one. I said, why don't y'all do any traffic stops in town? I said, heck no, it's too dangerous out there for us to stop cars. And you know what? In a roundabout way, I agree with them because you look on 181 or 72, it's crazy. And what do? Do you stick cars out there with the lights flashing to deter somebody, or do you just have to start putting up, actually going out there and taking a chance and then doing what we need to do to slow some of these people down? Sometimes a visible presence is all that it takes.
A visible presence.
But I'm in favor of increasing the department.
I am too.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Ms. Moore.
Just listening and reading the different reports and stuff all the time, the headlines of the paper this week. Now, this oil thing is going to be here and it's going to stay here for some time. And I know it's money spent, but we've got to do something to protect the citizens as well and keep the integrity of try to do something with our roads. The couple that were just killed in DeWitt County yesterday, or Monday, I believe it was. That was from a blowout. Truck ran in and hit them head on. Possibly, maybe that blowout could have been caused from all these potholes. I was going down 181 and boom, 18-wheeler hit a pothole and came across right in front of me. And if I wouldn't have hit the ditch, it would have hit me. And so I know those roads are there, but yet we still need, I believe, whether it's in the budget or not in the budget, I'm kind of like, if there's a need and a rising, it should be amended.
Yes.
I mean, why wait for 3 more months for something else to happen?
Just
One
vote.
more point.
Amen. Yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was at a dinner at Marathon, about 2 weeks ago. Dinner at Marathon. And the general manager for Marathon for this area made a very quick presentation, made a statement. Marathon has made plans that they're going to be here for 20 years. And that in the next 5 years, right now the plans for Marathon are to drill another 13,000 wells. Is that correct? 13,000? 13,000 wells in Karnes County. This problem is not going to go away. It's just going to get worse.
Now you want one more question? Are we having no question? Okay. Herb, I understand that. Yep. Last year, yes, during the new FY, the budget year, we did talk about 12, and we made the decision to put 6 on there. But we were trying to balance the budget or no. Now with all the accidents and everything that's coming on, and everything that we've talked about, they've justified why they need them and everything. Would it be considered, I want to just do what's legal here in Commissioner's Court, would it be considered an emergency? Is there any way we can go legally and do this? If there's not, then we understand, but if there is,
Based on the fact that there was a countywide speed limit put in place, based on your inability to predict with any accuracy the amount of problems that you have at this time, I'm of the opinion it is an emergency, public safety wise, and you can justify it if the commissioners feel like that's,
we can justify it.
yes, you can.
So, do I hear a motion anyway?
I move we approve the 6 deputies, full-time deputy positions and equipment to create a traffic unit within the department to enforce the laws on county roads and state highways in Karnes County. This is an issue has become an emergency due to a large amount of wrecks and traffic-related incidents and staffing needs.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Thank you. Good luck, guys.
All right, we're not, there's nothing in there to amend the budget. We're not on here to amend the budget. We have to bring that back next week to amend the budget. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is regarding amending of the sheriff department budget and all that, so we'll bring it back on the next one.
Okay, I would ask that the sheriff and chief deputy go over this and see if they want to modify it in any way and make it anything more clear. If they want to bring on 3 deputies and now three for training and 3 months, or if there's any modifications they want to make, bring back a detailed plan for us for
Something like
next
that.
time.
That'd be fine.
And
Just a little bit more justification.
I just don't want you to be faced with the, well, we just voted on an answer.
I
So
understand.
we researched it, we had it, it was discussed, it's done.
Thank you so, thank you so much.
Come back to the court?
Yeah, because of the, Herb, on this one, item number 7, we voted on it, and it's okay and everything, but it's not strictly on amending the budget, is it? Would they have to come back to amend the budget for that line? Okay.
With specific dollars.
With
Approve the
specific
position
dollars.
on amend the budget then? Okay.
Yes, that way we can come back and amend it, and then if you could come back, and I know y'all justified it here, but with a little bit more justification, so
Okay.
the public will know a little bit more. All right, thank you, guys. Okay, moving along to item number 8, discuss action to authorize DSA architects to modify Karnes County EMS contract documents to relocate new building, 1301 Arthur Lorraine, Daily. Item number 8, the bottom of the page.
This was actually in March 31st, we presented this to the Commissioner's Court, and it wasn't on as an action item. So the court requested that we put it back on the agenda so that you could vote as an action item, because it was only a discussion item previously.
You just need a motion.
Yes, sir.
Do I hear one?
I'm move that we approve number 8 as presented.
Second? Second, okay. All in favor? I'm sorry. Motion made and second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Item number 9. Discuss action regarding zero cost of the Karnes County Courthouse Phase 1 change order number 41202A. Arthur Lorraine.
This is for Phase 1A, the foundation project. We are now substantially complete with this project, and there's this change order number 4, which again is a zero cost change order. It's taking money out of contingency, the funds out of contingency in order to take care of these items. If you look at the second page, you'll see that our contingency started with our construction contingency started with $87,000 in it. After this change order number 4, we will have $85,663, so still the majority of your contingency is intact. The items on this are basement louvers. When we deleted the fan was deleted from the basement at the time as a value engineering item because by the time you take occupancy of it, the fan would already be out of warranty, and it was discussed that it wasn't necessary, and so we could have louvers and allow natural air. So that's what this $2,000 was for out of contingency. The perimeter fencing is because this project has been going on, instead of removing the temporary fencing, it was charged out to the county to go ahead and keep that temporary fencing in place and keep it as permanent fencing, so you bought that fencing to protect that site on through, so that'll save you on the next phase. They won't have to have temporary fencing on the next phase. Again, temporary lighting, again, since the building's gonna be left for, for some time as we continue to do the phases, this will take the place of the construction lighting that will have to go in there, and it'll make it safer for everybody as they do go through and maintain items in the facility. Selective demolition, these were additional items that the Texas Historical Commission asked for in order to do some more investigation of what was actually there in preparing your roof and phase 2 drawings. The French drain extension was in order to minimize the disruption to the sheriff's department parking area and impound area. It was moved just a little bit to the west to go through the annex parking lot, and so there was a linear foot cost for that. And then the temporary work to stabilize the 2 arches on the west side and the south side, those arches were continuing to start to crack out, so we had to do additional stabilization to keep those intact until you can do your phase 2 work. So it is, again, it's zero cost, but it shifts money out of construction contingency to pay for these items.
So we thoroughly discussed these with the contractor, Lorraine and myself, and decided those things we needed. And I think we've done very well to end up with almost all of our contingencies where we got credit for the job and spent what we needed to spend. I'll make a motion to accept this.
I'll say.
Been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes. One signature in the front of me. Oh, I'm sorry, this one's.
Can I just name that real quick?
Item number 10, we're gonna come back to. I'm gonna skip it real quick. We're waiting on a call. Item number 11, discuss action regarding approving TSI Laboratories Inc. additional construction materials testing fee of $404 for the Karnes County Courthouse Foundation Repairs Project. Arthur Lorraine.
So essentially, I'm going to give you this. On testing laboratories, this is an allowance that's set up in the construction documents, and when you start construction, the laboratory looks at the construction documents and they look at the amount of work that's going to be required, and they come up with a budget to do that work based on their estimates of how things are going to run on the job. TSI Laboratories had presented us an estimate of $2,380, and that's on item K of the front tracking sheet that we use to track the project. If you look at the last page, that's where we document every invoice that comes in so that we can see if the contractor does actually submit invoices that will go over their budget. When we got the final invoices in from TSI Laboratories, it put them $404 over their budget, and so we contacted them and told them that it's over their estimate of price, and we need a letter from them and documentation as to why they went over. It is not uncommon for them to be very close. Sometimes they're a little under and sometimes a little over. But essentially the main reason why this went over the $404 is because of the concrete issue that we have here. Getting concrete, the pours had to be broken up into smaller pours, and they had to come out and do a few more inspections and a few more tests than they normally had anticipated. And then the mortar and the grout testing was not originally in the scope of TSI Laboratories, but it was decided that it was needed on this project, and so they needed to add that mortar and grout testing.
Who decided that?
The project team, the project engineer and architect. And it's a minimal cost. It's a few $100s, and it's a safeguard to the county when you're spending as much as we were spending on the project. So it's $404, and so it puts their, so again, you still have your $85,000 in your construction contingency, so so the funds from the construction contingency could be shifted over to that. Another option could be if the court wanted to, that I wanted to present if you're interested, is we have the crack monitoring that was approved. Excuse me, I told you item K on here. Item K is the crack monitoring that was approved for $2,380. We could tell them we want a month less of crack monitoring. You are monitoring your survey of your foundation already, and we can shift that money, but my recommendation would be to go ahead and leave those crack monitors in place and watch the building as it goes and spend the $404 out of your construction contingency. I think it would be better to do it that way.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. It should come on.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mrs. Stinson, go right ahead, I'm sorry.
I'm not clear. Did we get the emergency loan for the roof? Did we get that?
We're waiting on that, ma'am. We're waiting on a phone call.
This is not item.
I left number 10 out and I announced I would be back to Mrs. Stimson, I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't.
So we don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
No,
We're
we
gonna
don't
know
know.
hopefully shortly. We're on item 11. We're talking about the foundation right now.
Okay.
We skipped, yeah.
It's okay, as soon as we get the call, or we'll go back to item number 10.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Who made the motion? Somebody made the motion? No?
Yeah, so I'll make a motion to pay this out of contingencies.
It's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, moving along to item number 12. Discuss, approve, disapprove, authorizing Herb Hancock, County Attorney, to advertise on bids on an oil, gas, and mineral release in the local newspaper for 3 weeks on the following Karnes County properties. 1. Tract number 006-020-00B, 2.6 acres of land. 2. Tract number 2003-002-10A, 0.06 acres of land. 3. Tract number 006-818-0AP, 0.224 acres of land. 4. Tract number 006-816-OAS, 0.138 acres of land. 5. Tract number 006-818-OAU, 0.069 acres of land. 6. Tract number 2004-094-001, 0.3443562 acres of land. 7. Tract number 2004-094-001, 0.3443. Okay, I am sorry. It's I repeated that. 0.086 acres of land. Should have remembered that. 8. Tract number 006-818-AL1, 0.224 acres of land. 9. Tract number 1600-201-00B, 0.22 acres of land, more or less. 10. Tract number 006-818-1BL, 1.93 acres of land, more or less. 11. Tract number 2004-509, 1.768 acres of land, more or less. And 12. Tract number 2003-003-006.107 acres of land, more or less. Arthur, our county attorney, Herb Hancock.
This request permission to advertise these 12 tracts. The interest that the county had in the possibility of leasing them for the oil and gas interest.
I'll make the motion as item 12 reads.
Second.
Been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Item number 13, discuss, approve, disapprove, authorizing Herb Hancock, County Attorney, to advertise on bids on oil, gas, and mineral release in the local newspaper for 3 weeks on property known as Karnes County, precinct number 4 barn, 0.773 acres of land. Arthur, County Attorney, Herb Hancock.
This request permission to advertise that also.
Okay.
I'll make the motion as item 13 reads.
Second.
Been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. Item number 14, discuss, approve, disapprove ICE bilateral agreement modifications to deobligate excess funding for COINS 0003, 0005, 0006, 0007, 0008, 009, 0011, and 0012. The total amount of deobligated, it's $100,332.95. This task is no longer in use and is beyond its period of performance. Pete?
Okay, you each have a paper stating this. I have some associated paperwork here, if you want to look at it. This is more or less routine. We have to sign the contract for the detention facilities out here in our county. And it doesn't cost us anything, we have to do paperwork and
Costs us a lot of time.
and yeah, it takes time. It will cost us time, but we do have to do that. We get some stipend for it, don't we?
Minimal.
Can that be increased?
It would have to be in the negotiation and the contract with Geo.
So, anyway, I contacted the man's name on here, Arnold Castelline. Discussed this with him, he said this was things that weren't needed and it has to be credited and we have to sign this. We've done this several times before, past 3 years. So, anyway, he assured me that this was all in order. This is a man in, where's his office? I think he's might be in Washington, I don't know where he's in, I called him. And he assured me that it was all in order. So I'll make a motion that we approve this.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Item number 15, disapprove allowing EMS administrator to enter into a contract with Steroid Cycle for biohazard waste removal for a 36-month term. Cost per month, $75. Arthur Dennis Kelly from Karnes County EMS administrator. Let's see.
Basically what this is, and I can't speak for anything that happened prior to October 1, but currently EMS has no means of getting rid of their biohazard waste, be it used needles, syringes, IV stuff, expired drugs, things of that nature, soiled linens. So basically this is Stericycle. I've used this company for the last 10 years. They're very reliable. They will come once a month and pick up our biohazard waste. They provide us with the containers, with the biohazard bags. Also included in this is the the training for our OSHA certification. We have to go through, all EMTs we have to provide them with OSHA training in biohazard waste and sharps disposal every year. Stericycle will provide us with their website with all of their training materials, and we can print out forms and put them in our file to cover that. So basically, this plan is for 36 months, and it's a fee of $75 per month.
Two questions.
Yes,
Number one, it says the offer expiration date is April 7th.
I asked her that yesterday. I had talked to her and she said, don't worry, she'll send me another one with the new date on it.
Okay. Second question, can we obligate county funds for 3-year period?
Okay. We can do that.
Kennedy construct.
Sorry. I didn't feel that. But either way we need to do this, we have to get rid of our bio waste. I mean, we can't haul it out to our ranch and bury it or burn it or whatever.
What, Dennis, if we can't obligate our funds for, further than every 12 months, every FY, then can we do this for 12 months? Do you think there's going to be a problem with that, or do you have to
I will have to call her. This is kind of their standard plan, standard format. If you start doing it by the month, this is the best rate with this plan
Yeah.
is to do it this way. But if we can't obligate funds, then we'll have to go back another way. It's probably gonna cost us a little more money per month.
Herb, is there any way we can do this?
Can we do it we can do a 3-year contract
Uh-huh.
with just
It's billed
the
monthly.
capability of renewing it
We just have.
Every 12 months, every
12
12.
months.
Yeah, that's
If
what
it's
I,
funded,
okay. Can we,
You can have
We
a
can-
3-year contract, but each budget.
we have to renew it.
Yeah, we have to renew
And
it.
there's not gonna be a problem with renewing it, because this is good rates. But we could do the 3-year contract and just renew it every new budget year.
Training and
the
everything
contract
else.
just have to indicate that it has to be an automatic renewal based on the payment, the approval.
So you wouldn't be entering a 3-year contract, your contract would be 12 months, but with the option to renew.
It's automatic
time.
renewal.
Every time.
Every time. I can.
Would they be okay with that?
I don't know. That's something I will have to find out with them. You know, we didn't discuss that at the time. You know, I wanted a good plan where we knew we wouldn't be holding on to. I mean, I have a stack of biohazard waste in my building
No,
right now
I
that
understand.
is ridiculous. And at first I was told, well, the hospital, they take it, and then the hospital's changed staff and heads of departments several times since in the last year or so.
I'm sorry, Dennis. Herb, can we make this motion now and pass it? But if they don't agree with it, we can always come back and take it off. But if we do it now, so we can go ahead and get it done, and if they agree with it, then we already got it in place, so you can get rid of that biohazard.
I think we can do the contract in a way that they can agree with,
Sure.
our funding is just for 12 months. The contract can be signed subject to the funding that comes into place. We do automatic renewals on a lot of these contracts that are signed for longer than 12 months.
I understand.
Based on the ability of we just have to plan on a 12-month period. And if you don't fund it for the next year, then the contract ends. It's basically what I've seen some of the contract work, and I think we can work it.
I just want to get it done and pass so he can get rid of that, and I'm sure we can work something out with him, but I don't want to pass it on
Sure.
to another one if you already
Sure.
have a pile up of biohazard material there. So how can we can we just pass this the way it is, or do somebody have to put a stipulation in there with?
Just strike out the 3-year contract, but just for 12 months, subject to renewal. Automatic renewal if we pay. Can I do the contract and bring it back to you in the middle of the month?
Dennis?
You want to do that?
Yeah, we can do that.
That-
I mean, provided that that's what Stericycle does. If not, we can.
And if they say no, then we bring it back.
Then we bring it back and we'll try something else. Which I had it at one time on a as needed pickup. I didn't get the OSHA training with it, and it ran somewhere in the vicinity of $250 every time they came to pick up,
Yeah.
because they put us on a route, so that guy's here once a month in this area. Whereas if I call them today and say, hey, I've got biohazard, can you pick it up tomorrow? Or I need it picked up, well, then they're gonna send a special.
Exactly.
Quantity is not an issue.
I believe it's in here, the size of the box they give us. However, I never had a problem in the past with, because they just give us a stack of boxes and the stuff, and it's not done by weight, and it's not done by size. It's, like I say, that's why we try to do it ahead of time this way. Because this month I'll have a big thing. Next month I may not even send it off because it's such a minute amount. But I'm fine with that, and I can call her, and I'm sure I wouldn't think with all they do across the United States that they can't.
I'm sure they bumped into it before.
Exactly.
How about we just go ahead and we do that motion with a contract with Stericycle for biohazard waste removal, and we just leave no 36 month or anything like that, and then you can work it out?
Right, we work it out.
Okay, got it. All right,
I make a motion we approve allowing EMS administrator to enter into contract with Stericycle for biohazard waste removal for a period acceptable to Stericycle at a cost of $75 per month or whatever is it worked out with them.
No. You have to say either a 12-month contract. In other words, acceptable to them this is acceptable to them. We need to say it that an open-end, I mean, how you want to word it, or
Can we bring it back at the beginning of the month and I'll do your wording?
Yeah, you wanna just bring it, are you okay, do you have an excessive amount of biohazard stuff there? I mean, you do?
I mean, if OSHA walks in right now, we're gonna get slapped.
That's the problem I was trying to get it
It's-
past.
can you just call them and say, take this load out of here, get this?
Let's go ahead and do it.
Can you modify it for now with
And I'll
us?
modify it, and we'll bring it back in modified form if we need to.
But you're saying if OSHA walks in right now, we're in trouble?
Okay.
Well, I guess for now, you could, is there still a company that comes and picks it up just
No,
without?
I mean, I can contact them, but we're still gonna have to enter into some kind of agreement with them before they'll come pick it up.
We just say 12-month contract.
Let's put it, you wanna just, let's pass it to make sure her today, and then you can, if they come back, you can do a modification afterward, but I would like to get it passed today, and you can get in contact with them so we can get rid of that, and then if we have to change something, we can change it afterward, bring it back.
That'll work.
Okay, so the way Pete said it was, the approve allowing EMS administrator to enter in a contract with Stericycle for biohazard waste removal for a cost per month of $75.
That'll work.
It's been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes.
As far as, item number 16, I think Luana and I discussed it. I don't think we're gonna have to make a new line item for that, so we don't need number 16.
You want to just pass it?
Yeah, we can pass it over. I stuck that in there to make sure I got it on here before I talk with her.
Okay. Moving along to, we're going to pass item number 16. Go on. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir.
This might be a good time. Can we go back to item 10?
Let me see. We have one more with him. Can we
Oh,
do that one?
yes,
We got one more.
Oh,
and then
okay, I
I'll
thought you skipped his. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
No, we
let's
skipped
go.
item number
But then
16.
we can go back to 10 because
Yeah, I
I
don't-
have good news.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Item number 17, disapprove allowing EMS administrator to enter into a business associate agreement and EPCR, project interlocal cooperation agreement with STRAC, Southwest Texas Regional Advisory Council, allowing for use of EPCR and use, right? Is that EPCR? Yeah. And use of shared protected health information as it pertains to Texas Trauma Registry, billing, and encrypted record storage. Arthur Dennis Kelly.
Okay, the EPCR, that's our electronic patient care reporting software that we have went to using, which I will say we've been using it for about a month now, and it is probably one of the best things that I've run into in EMS. And with it, with any time you transfer, and there's two separate agreements here, and I apologize, these are not real small. I did give a copy of each of these to Herb. I believe he looked over them.
I did, yeah.
And so I'll let him comment on anything that he might have seen here. One of these is a business associate agreement, and the other one is the interlocal agreement. Unfortunately, anytime you deal with protective healthcare information, there's a lot of legal things that go with that. First of which is a business associate agreement, which basically states what the entities are going to do with the healthcare information. Basically covered in here are the what STRAC is going to do with it, which basically means that they are going to allow us to use this software, which is in another contract over here, and the fees over here. This business associate agreement basically covers, it's required by law through the HIPAA law that we have to have a contract so that both of us know what we're doing with the information. In other words, I'm sending the information to them. I know they're only using it for things that are lawful and that are covered under HIPAA, such as reporting it to the trauma registry for the state of Texas for any type of surveys, data collections. They're not taking this information and selling it. They're not sending it to companies that will sell it, and that all of our stuff, all of our information we send to them is encrypted. So you can't just get on the internet, hack into it, and start reading personal healthcare information.
On this one with the EPCR project, it's got a date of 2013.
Yes, sir. I did see that, Shelby, earlier, and I didn't catch that early enough. I think this was because most of these they do are in October. That's.
And your contract is for 1 year at a time though, but it says maximum duration of this contract is 6.
Yes.
Is the payment for the stuff only per year, so we don't get in this thing?
Yes.
We're obligated for.
It's per year, and this is a 12-month contract with a renewal clause in it.
And your address is still 717 West Main?
Yes, sir. They actually spelled Kennedy right.
Yep.
Now, as far as this goes, where the payment, those funds come directly out of our, and we've discussed this once before, but our trauma funding that we get from the state. All of this that we have with this electronic patient care reporting that we've put into play right now, we've used those funds, that $6,000 and something to start this project, which cuts down on our paper load, our file load. I don't have to have a 1 foot thick file of patient care reports. They're all stored electronically, they're all backed up. I can get to them whenever I need to. Cuts my time in half as far as billing. It'll cut that even further in half as soon as we get the patch from STRAC to our billing company, where our billing company can go straight in and pull those records after I've went in and reviewed them and okayed them for them to bill. So it's and it'll renew every year. We won't have to have a check written from the county to STRAC every year. They'll deduct that amount from those funds before we ever do it, every year.
After all of this has been said, I'm still confused, but I think what you're trying to say is this is secure data storage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Basically.
I mean, for all of that, that's all you have to say. It's
Well,
secure data storage.
It's more than secure data storage, but there's more into that. But a lot of it has to do with efficiency and recouping costs.
I understand that, but basically,
Yeah, you're right.
secure data storage. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shelby.
I move we approve.
All right, I can't digest all this at one time. Herb, you say you've looked at these and you find no problem with them?
I don't have any problem with it, no.
And this is used within the STRAC region.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's not just something that would have in Karnes County by itself, it's used by several agencies.
Yes.
38 different agencies within our region use this program.
Do what, Casey?
38 different agencies within
Yeah.
our region use this program. I have the same agreement.
I second. Okay, thanks, Casey. Been made and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Sue, I'm sorry. Go back to number 10.
Now we're back to number 10. I'll just mention that the reason we had to skip number 10 before was because, as we speak, the Texas Historical Commission was meeting in Austin to vote on the recipients of the Round A grants, like which courthouses will receive money. And as y'all remember, we were all disappointed that there was only $4.5 million to spread among, I think, 24 courthouses. But I'm very happy to announce today that as of a few minutes ago, they did approve an award to Karnes County for $450,000.
That is fantastic.
So with that in mind, Lorraine will move forward with our restoration. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you. There was a lot of hard work that went in, and
I'm sorry, Lorraine. I moved to item number 10, but I didn't read it. Give me 1 second. I apologize, Lorraine. Discuss action regarding moving forward with courthouse annex roof project phase 1B and authorize architect to issue construction documents for bidding. Arthur Lorraine Bailey.
Shouldn't that just be courthouse roof project?
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I gotta leave out the annex.
courthouse roof project.
Courthouse roof project, we're gonna leave out the annex, yes. Thank you, Lorraine. And I forgot to read it because I was excited. I wanted to hear what Sue had said.
So Sue and her team did a lot of work on helping to make sure that you had the support that you needed, even going up to when everything was presented before the commission. So it was quite a feat because when we went up there, there were a lot of fire and life safety issues related to electrical, related to exiting. I mean, there was a lot of competition. So and even getting the full of 450,000, it shows that they're really behind everything and that it was a good presentation. So we're very excited. So what we put together is again a project cost recap for you so that you can look at where we are now and what we're estimating for cost for the project. Not all of the lines are filled in yet because some of them will be filled in after the bidding once we know what the time frame is for bidding, what the scope is for construction materials testing, etc. But right now Mr. Loon, who is the architect preparing these documents, he does have a contract in place with Karnes County to go through the bidding phase of the project. So what we're asking you to do today is go ahead and allow him to finalize his documents and put them out for bid so that we can get actual bids from the contractors for the project. The THC funds will be the $450,000. The estimate that was done, and again, we went to Mr. MJ Boyle because he's the one that worked out, he was the low bidder on the last two courthouse projects. He's the most familiar, and with the cost fluctuations that we're seeing in this area, we wanted somebody that had already been in and understands the concrete problems, understands the issues that we're dealing with out here, and he gave us an estimate of $1,019,845. So that is what we're estimating the construction to come in at. That does include an $85,000 construction contingency, but it will take care of your entire roof. The middle tower area will be part of phase 2, so there'll be a temporary roofing that'll go over that middle area. But this has an alternate in it to go ahead and restore the turrets that are the 4 turrets and to take care of, you'll have a complete slate roof and you won't be leaking anymore, which you still have a number of leaks with driving rain. We've done a lot to try to do repairs, but the problem is bad tiles. And so either we're going to be spending money on temporary replacing a roof or replacing it permanently. So we would like to be able to go forward with bidding the project, and then we'll bring those bids to you at such time that the bidding has completed.
Okay, so what we need now is to authorize Graham Lund to present the construction documents for bidding. And, this cost in here for that is $50,000. Now, we have $80-something thousand in contingency. Now, that should be able to be spent for a grand run to get these construction documents ready. Is that correct? One. We have $80,000 left in courthouse funds for this year yet, in contingency. That's still left in that contract, and that amount that could be spent for grand run to prepare the construction documents. Okay. So we don't have to change make any changes to that. We have funding there. This one.
Did I hear you say that we're gonna pay Mr. Lund $50,000 to prepare these documents?
Yes, to complete the documents and go through the bidding process, his fee will be about $50,000.
You gotta be kidding.
Why am I kidding? Why would you think
You
I'm
gotta
kidding?
be kidding. We're gonna pay an architect to prepare documents, whatever those documents are. We're gonna prepare them to put them out for bid, and we're gonna pay him $50,000. That doesn't seem to be a little outrageous? No. Okay.
We pay them.
Go ahead.
We have to pay these fees all the time, Maurice.
Soft costs, what we call soft costs on a project are usually about 10% of your construction costs, so, in overall. So if you're at about $1 million, about $100,000 in soft costs is a fair market value and reasonable. The documents that are prepared under a sealed, registered architect seal and structural engineer seal, etc. And they're required by law, and THC requires that you have an architect, and you want someone experienced in historical work, definitely, so you don't have mistakes through the project.
Because it's their butt on the line, or they stamp it.
Yes, sir. Yes. And you don't want, in historical work, working with the historical commission is tricky. I mean, you have to know their procedures, you have to know what they expect, and you don't want them to come out and see something that your architect did and they don't agree with it, and then it costs money later on to make changes. So you work very well with the foundation.
I don't, personally, excuse me, I've got a problem. I don't care if it's a historical society, and that's not the issue. The issue is that it's an outrageous amount of money to prepare documents to submit them for bids. I don't care who's involved in it, or how tricky or whatever the requirements are that are required by the Texas Historical Commission. That's not the issue. My issue is it seems outrageous that we're paying $50,000 for a person to put a bunch of paper together, put them in an envelope, and submit them to people who request bids.
Wait, let me
Go ahead, sir.
No, I just want to ask a question.
Okay.
We had already prepared some documents that were submitted to Austin. Is this?
This is, the $50,000 has already been approved by Commissioner's Court. This is for him to draw the drawings, to do the investigation, to draw the drawings.
Yeah, well, let's
not
make that clear. This isn't an additional $50,000. This has already been approved, so.
Actual amount to date has been $39,000.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is to prepare AutoCAD drawings, to do the structural engineering, to do the architectural work. This isn't to put them out to bid. The cost for bidding is usually 5% of that overall fee, which is, 5% of the 50, which he has not been paid yet. So the fee for all of the architectural work to get through the bidding phase is the 50, and that's already previously been approved.
I understand.
Ms. Morris, a lot of these costs are ridiculous. I agree, a lot of them are ridiculous, so we have to do it. We have to comply with the state regulations and rules, and it has to be done.
And I'm not fighting that. I'm not fighting the restoration of the courthouse. What I'm surprised that the Commission's Court didn't say this a ridiculous amount to pay to prepare documents and put them out for bid. I mean, it just seems to be an outrageous amount to me as a citizen. I'm not fighting that it's already been approved, and I'm not fighting that.
What is CA?
But it's not the $50,000. It's not just to go out to bid. It's the entire process, and $39,000 or $40,000 is already spent.
$39,000 is.
So it's really not just to go out to bid. But we can look at what all was done by this architect for that project. But for this particular agenda item,
this is the first time it's been dropped out there. Paying $50,000
It's
to be a-
procedures that have to get done to restore this courthouse back to the way it was. Well, I have a motion on the table. It's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 18, executive session. The Commissioners Court will convene in closed session under Texas Government Code, Section 551.071, attorney consultation, and 551.072, deliberation of regarding real property to deliberate and discuss the possibility of arriving at an offer of a sale price on a property or a value of real property for the Road and Bridge Department of Karnes County, Texas. I had some questions before we came in here. I had some citizens come up to me and everything, tell me that I think this is written pretty clear, but I had some citizens tell me that it's not written clear enough for the public to understand for us to be able to go into closed session. What's your determination on this agenda item? I think it's written pretty clear where we can go into executive session, but I'm asking your advice on that.
Anytime you write an issue that has to do with a closed session, you'll have a disagreement. It's as clear as you're going to be able to get it without telling the parties who are bidding against you as to what the terms and conditions of your possible offer is going to be. There's always going to be a disagreement on closed sessions. In my opinion, this follows the rules, and you can go into closed session if you want to.
What is it for?
It's the 14 acres over there next to the co-op that they're gonna pay
But if
$1.2 million
go,
for.
there's no need for us to have a closed session if we're going to tell if you're just going to say, this is what our negotiation is going to be, we're going to make this offer, and the other side that is also in bidding on it is going to be faced with knowing exactly what the Commissioners Court and what the county does. That's the only reason for going into closed session. And that's, if, you know, there's no other reason. If we said this is how much money we're going to bid on it, then the other side knows where to bid and where to put their money.
Where has it even been talked about that you have talked about buying a piece of land for the road and bridge? I mean, that aspect hasn't even been discussed in front of the citizenry.
For the last 3 years.
Right, and you
That's
knocked
what
it
you
down
want,
before.
Pete. That's what you want.
Because the land values are too expensive. The money needs to be put on the infrastructure, not on buying land and worrying about where you're going to build another building.
Right. Can't get down the dirt road with the ambulance, Pete, when it rains.
You know,
You can have all the buildings you
the
want.
citizens and taxpayers deserve the right to know what you're trying to do.
I want to go into executive session.
Yeah, get in there, Pete.
It's been made. We don't have to go in if y'all don't want to go in, but if you want to go in, then we can go in.
Second, let's go.
It's been made and said, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. The time is now 10:23 a.m., April 30th, 2014. We're gonna go to executive session. Excuse me.
We don't have a key?
Session at 10:54 a.m., April 30th, 2014. No decisions were made in executive session, item number 18. Moving along to item number 19, payment of bills.
Inserts in with your bills, I'm going to point out some items of interest for consideration by the court. On page 1, under Department 400, the County Judges Department, you will notice a bill to Texas CompuFix for $3,410.50. A copy of that bill is enclosed with your printout for bills. Of that $3,410.50, $680 was authorized by the former county judge to back up data and email for both Sylvia and the judge onto jump drives so they can have a copy of this stuff when they leave, verbatim the description from the supplier. There's also another charge to help finalize the transfer of data to removable devices on the last day of the judge and her secretary. I've brought this to Judge Butler's attention. I don't know if y'all want to table this particular payment until the next cycle. He did not believe that the county should be liable for these fees because what was the purpose of taking county information when you're leaving office? That's a total of $680. I don't think we should withhold payment from Jeff because he provided the services on the order of a then official. But I'm not sure that the county should be responsible for those dollars. Also on this same bill is a total of $1,617.50 for the computer that was required for the audio video system that was not authorized by the court. Again, we need to pay the supplier for this, and if that computer is not used for that particular purpose, it can be used elsewhere, but just wanted to bring that to the court's attention that that was not something a purchase authorized.
Okay, and that was, I'm sorry, that was for $680?
$680 was for copying the emails and contact information onto a jump drive so Barbara and Sylvia could take it with them when they left.
Okay.
That's buy the jump drive.
That's the one that Judge Butler is talking about?
Yes.
That he believes shouldn't be paid by the county.
He said that that should be the responsibility of the former official because there's no need leaving office that you would need to take county contacts, county information, etc.
I see, but we should go ahead and pay this because Jeff needs to get paid and then the county attorney can take care of that afterwards.
That
And
would
Judge
be one way
Butler,
to handle it, yes.
Judge Butler and our county attorney can take care of that afterwards and we just go ahead and pay Jeff because he did do the job.
That's a huge amount of money. $600?
And what
I
are
wouldn't,
the
I wouldn't pay that.
audio, video?
I would not pay that. I'd forward the bill to Barbara. Why in the world would you pay that?
$1,617.50.
That is for the computer that is needed to operate the audio video
Let's pay
system.
everything
Should we
except
keep
for
it?
the
Just $680.
Yeah.
And then get a computer.
Wait for Butler to come back. and
Get ready to put that
discuss
in. And we don't keep it the way it's not
No, the computer can be used by some other
Everything else
department
except
that
for
might need a
600.
computer, or it can just be stored until someone does need a computer. But it's just a matter of, that was part of the cost of the system that was not authorized to be purchased.
Do you know
That's
if
why.
the jump drives were purchased by the county when they took them?
I have no idea. It very well could.
I mean, I just sound stupid, but
No, that's a legitimate question.
But regardless who purchased the jump drives,
Yeah.
what was the purpose of taking the county
Exactly.
information?
Is that even
but
legal?
I think we should pay Jeff's bill except withhold the $680, whatever that amount is. Without withhold that until we talk with Judge Butler, see how he wants to handle that.
Maybe that's what they do there.
That's my opinion.
So the little jump computer,
I'll continue with other items
I'm sorry, go
of
ahead.
interest on page 3. At the annex parking, we're paying $2,773.94. Phase 1A of the courthouse, $109,694.38. Phase 1B, $1,997.92. The jail, $76,551.20.
What page are we on? I'm sorry.
That was on page 3 under capital outlay, section 500.
Okay.
You go down to page 12 and 13, which is the road and bridge department. On page 13 are all the expenditures from the bond monies, which total $176,775. We've also spent approximately $38,000 in other road and bridge materials for non-bonded roads. You will also notice I gave you a copy of the bill from RJ Air Conditioning and Heating. They installed a new 4-ton heat pump system at the current road and bridge location, $7,625. I know y'all were in discussion about possibly acquiring new property and relocating the facility. I would strongly suggest that any additional repairs, maintenance, major capital outlay expenditures to the current facility be strongly considered before done. So in case we are not utilizing that building in the future, we won't be just plunking money into it. Total for this bill cycle is $578,626.33.
No decision.
I'm looking to pay the bill minus the $680.
It's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes. I'm sorry, just a minute. Yes, sir.
Judge, is there any resolution or anything of your executive session?
No, there was no decisions were made or anything. I'm sorry, I announced it when I came out, but maybe you might have not been.
I'm over now, I got here in problem.
I'll speak a little louder. I'll speak a little louder. Okay, I think we're almost done. Did anybody have anything else to add on to this meeting? Okay, item number 20, adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn. I second.
Made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Motion passes, we're adjourned. Thank you.